All right, it's another Thursday night, which means another Docking Bay 94. You could be listening to us on sci-fi.radio. You could be checking us out on Facebook or on Twitch or on YouTube. All sorts of ways to check out sci-fi.radio. I am Sean Obi-Shawn Crosby.
I'm Colleen Kaylee Crosby.
Jeff Solo Donoho will be joining us momentarily. And this is Good Morning, not Good Morning Country, it's Docking Bay 94. It's been one of those days.
Good morning, Docking Bay 94.
Good morning, Docking Bay 94.
Yes. Hello to Eric and frequent Falcon Flyer. And
Sam has chimed in on Facebook.
am I on YouTube and not Facebook? Oh, no, I'm on Facebook.
No worries. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's been a week. Pretty busy.
I want to know how you get... I understand why I get a delay on Twitch, but I don't understand why you just saw Sam there like 30 seconds before I saw him there.
Because I have every chat that shows up in an aggregator.
I was looking at
through
Facebook.
Restream. Yeah, I don't know.
When you said Sam is on Facebook, and I'm like, am I not on the right thing?
No, I have exactly
Interesting.
zero ideas for why that is. No worries. Dawn has chimed in. And it's frequent Falcon Flyer brings up that it is morning in Japan for Star Wars Celebration.
Right.
That's true, and we are not there.
Lori is here too.
Heck, Lori is not there either.
She's here. Right. Yes, I was just looking at Facebook and people's posts from Japan.
Yeah, I mean, it's
very fun to remember when we were in Japan 2 years ago and say, "Oh, I was there."
Right. I've been watching everybody retrace our steps in a trip and things like that. Although not too many people went as far as Osaka. They went right to Tokyo, and so I didn't see a lot of people hit like Downton Bori and things like that. But some people did. Some people went to Osaka, made their way back to Tokyo, and it looks pretty fun. And they're already having various parties and mixers and stuff. I saw an Imperial Officers Club that somebody put together.
That's fun.
That looked like it was in. Remember the hotel that we were in, Colleen, where we had breakfast and breakfast looked out over the city?
The first day we were there.
Yeah, and then several other hotels had similar things as we made our way back across the country. And I've seen a lot of these parties take place in rooms like that, where you've got big panoramic windows that look out across the city. It's kind of neat.
Neat.
So, yeah, it's kind of fun. So
there are already news items coming in from Celebration that are not in our document because they're so hot off the presses.
They're that fresh, huh?
I mean, I think so, unless this is just a rumor or in case I missed it somewhere. But, yeah.
Oh, I don't know. And I imagine that StarWars.com is pretty good.
And I don't see it here in our document.
Our friend, there you can tune in apparently for various live streams and stuff. And it looks like they've announced Star Wars Starfighter.
That's exactly what I was talking about.
Yeah,
I wasn't sure if we were...
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And
it's got, it's supposed to have Ryan Gosling starring in it. And it's directed by Deadpool and Wolverine's Levy.
Sean Levy?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, my glasses are really filthy, and so I'm trying to clean them, and I can't quite see the headline.
I have had the worst time with my glasses the past couple of days. They've been pretty terrible. Our friend Craig Miller, who was fan relations for Lucasfilm back in the days of Star Wars and Empire and then went on to work on a bunch of Jim Henson movies and things like that. He's there in what sounds like a kind of a surprising trip. He posted a week or two ago going, I guess I'm going to Japan, which was a bit of a seemingly surprise for him. And he went out to the curb to go over to the convention center, and he ran into Pete Vilmer.
I saw that.
Yeah, that was very cool. Pete
Yeah.
Vilmer has also held the title of fan relations over at Lucasfilm, and he was the guy who was kind enough to invite us up when we talked about going up to San Francisco in November to see the Life Day display at Lucasfilm. So that was courtesy of Pete Vilmer. So fun to see. And oh my gosh, so many of my friends are like, guess who's on my flight? And they've got like all these cool people on their flight.
That's
like
neat.
Dave Filoni and all this kind of stuff. And one of the things that's funny about knowing so many people on Facebook is that it's like concentrated FOMO. And so it's like, okay, I know lots of different people who are all having singular experiences, but compiled together. It's like, oh my gosh, there's so much stuff going on. And that's kind of funny.
Well, it's funny because you mentioned that part of the problem is that, yes, it's the Star Wars convention and everything, but Japan is so cool.
And
You get the chance to go to Japan, you got to go.
So when Colleen and I, long ago, in the year 2000, went to Chicago to go to the Worldcon in Chicago, we had been invited out there. I think we worked on the newsletter while we were there. I'd been invited to DJ a dance out there, which was very cool. And the Bob Eggleston was artist guest of honor. He was tremendous. It was like really neat to go see him. They had all sorts of really neat stuff going on. We went to the convention, and that's fine, and we worked there. But we spent a lot of time skipping out of the convention and going to see the city because so much cool stuff was happening around the city that we didn't want to miss. I think we did a similar thing in Toronto when we went to Toronto, although half of our wandering around Toronto was getting stuff together for the parties
Toronto,
that we were doing.
I think we went to nearly as many museums as we did in
We
Chicago.
didn't, no.
Because we had a lot more duties.
We only went to a couple museums in
Yeah.
Toronto, but we went like into their underground and checked that out. We went to a surplus store that was just like cool, crappy parts. My kind of place. The kind of place that doesn't seem to be around so much anymore, which is a real bummer.
A couple things. Number one, we've got Linda and Jack over on Facebook, and we've got Budala on Twitch. Budala says that the radio isn't working.
Let me check on that.
Yeah.
It says that we are on. It says that we are silent. Okay, well that should fix it. That's so bizarre.
Frequent Falcon Flyer is predicting that for Star Wars 50th anniversary, the Star Wars celebration will be in Orlando. But we'll have to see. I mean, I guess we'll know by Saturday. They usually announce that by Saturday, don't they? Maybe Sunday?
Yeah, they announce it like the last day where it's going to be. I imagine it'll be back in the United States. It'll either be Orlando or Anaheim, and my money's on Anaheim. So we'll see. Lori says she went to Celebration in Atlanta. I don't think they held it in Atlanta. They had it in Denver. Then they had it 2 years in Indianapolis. And then they had it in Orlando.
Maybe she went to
then
Dragon Con.
Anaheim. Yeah, the big convention in Atlanta is Dragon Con. So that might have been it.
Yeah, so Star Wars Celebration has been in Denver, Indianapolis, Los Angeles, London, Chiba, Japan, Orlando, Essen, Germany, Anaheim, London, and Orlando.
And Chicago once.
Oh, wait, Chicago, you're right. You were there.
That was the trip they still never paid us back
Anaheim
for.
in 2020 was canceled. And then it went back to Anaheim, back to London, and back to Chiba. So it's not in Tokyo, it's in Chiba.
It's in Chiba
Chiba is
now?
25 miles east of Tokyo.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
I wonder how close it is to Disneyland.
Well,
Greets, Pat.
I don't know.
And Laura and Chris are here. I'm gonna look up a map to see where Chiba is in relation. Chiba.
Oh, that's what I was doing.
Oh. Well, you're faster than I am, so.
No worries. Let's see. Disneyland.
Uh-oh. I was supposed to talk during that.
No worries. It's one of those things where, like trying to get the computer to cooperate.
It's 52 minutes by car.
To Disneyland?
To Disneyland, yeah.
Okay.
It's interesting because it's on the same bay, though. So, like, there's a big bay that when you're in Disney Sea, there's an ocean liner. It's not real. It's like a restaurant and some other stuff. But if you go up on the top level of that ocean liner, you can see over the wall to the ocean. But what you're really seeing is this bay. You don't, like, it's not like an ending ocean. It's a big bay and a port.
And it's really kind of interesting because you see real ships plying their trade on the other side of Disneyland. It works out pretty well. Yeah, I see it here, and in fact, I'll show you guys over here while I'm looking at the map on the video part of things.
Eric says it's the Anaheim of Tokyo.
Right. I got
Not wrong.
I got hijacked by
Not really.
No, I went to look this up and I got hijacked by some other program. And
Rude.
that's why I couldn't find Disneyland. It wouldn't let me see it. It was giving me some weird satellite map, which is really bizarre.
Well, I just went to Google Maps and looked
That's
it
what
up.
I tried to do. And the
weird.
browser hijacked
So
me.
it's interesting because Tokyo is actually on the other side of Disneyland from Chiba, where...
It is.
So on your map, yeah, there you go. Now we can see it.
Oh, and then it went away. But yeah, you can see Tokyo over here on the left, and you can see Chiba over here on the right. And
But with the trains, it wouldn't take you as long with a train.
no, I don't think so.
Oh, it'll take you an hour with a train. But I'm going from Chiba to Disneyland to Tokyo. So.
Yeah, it took us 15 minutes to get there when we went to Tokyo Disneyland. The place that we stayed was so close.
Yeah, we were staying at a resort super close to.
And we took a shuttle. They were like a preferred resort, which basically meant they had a direct shuttle.
Yeah.
Over there, which was nice, I gotta say. It was really nice. I could have spent a fair amount of time just gallivanting around the city, though. And that's the thing I would feel compelled to do were we there now. Is like, I know all the Star Wars stuff is going on, but if we hadn't had a reasonable amount of time to see the city, I think I'd have more FOMO for the city than I would for the convention.
You mean, so if you were to just fly in for the convention and fly out and not have time to look at this city, it would be worse than not going at all?
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And because I've been to Star Wars celebrations before, and I feel once I got a feeling for the Japanness of it, for that particular vibe of it, that I would want to see the city. That may entirely change in practice. Like if I could have walked in there and discovered that I know all sorts of people, and that would have really changed it. And that
Well,
kind of thing, so.
I'm sure also, like, if we had gone, we would have done both. We would have done the convention and done a tour of Japan or whatever.
Right.
It would have been cool.
We did not see the northern half of Japan. We saw the southern half of Japan between Osaka and Tokyo. We didn't go any further north than that. And so there's like a whole half the country we haven't seen yet.
Yeah. So there's actually a whole chunk of things that they announced. IGN has a whole list of them. Ahsoka Season 2 filming is going to start right after Star Wars Celebration. The Mandalorian and Grogu will be shown in IMAX.
Okay.
Sigourney Weaver said she hasn't watched The Mandalorian. What?
Is she supposed to watch it? Is Sigourney Weaver in Star Wars that we don't know about? Why is she news, is my
I don't
idea.
know, but she was on stage with Pedro Pascal.
Okay.
And it says Pedro Pascal took the stage along with Sigourney Weaver. Weaver, the sci-fi icon from the Alien and Avatar franchises, told fans of her Star Wars casting.
She is in The Mandalorian and Grogu.
Oh.
Interesting.
Oh, and I'm sorry, it's in a thread that's about that, but it had a different
see.
headline, so I didn't get it.
She says she is delighted to join the Star Wars franchise. Do you realize that that's got to make Sigourney Weaver like it's like the sci-fi equivalent of an EGOT.
Pretty much.
She's got Aliens, she's got Ghostbusters, she's got Avatar. She'll have Star Wars.
She's got Galaxy Quest.
Right, which is pretty close to Star Trek. Has she done Star Trek? I don't think she's done Star Trek.
I don't think so.
But I mean, that's kind of nuts. I think Galaxy Quest is as close as she gets to
She
Star
apparently
Trek.
calls Grogu very messy. in footage that they showed.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, he says it's Jon Favreau says it's still too early for a proper trailer, but here's some footage. And Sigourney Weaver appears to be contracting the Mandalorian for a job. And she's sitting at a table with Grogu, and she says, very messy, and you work for us, we need you. And Grogu apparently knows how to swim.
Well, I mean, one would expect
Yeah.
that he would. All right, Jeff has made it in there. Can you hear us, Jeff?
Yeah.
Hey, we can hear you too.
Yes, I can.
All
We're
right.
talking about
golly, here we
Sigourney
go.
Weaver being cast in The Mandalorian.
In the-
Yeah,
in
I
the
heard about
movie.
that.
That's cool. Mandalorian and Grogu movie.
Sweet.
Woohoo!
That is all of the announcements that we see so far from Star Wars Celebration.
Yeah, see, young Lee
Okay.
has got it. He's like, she's the queen of sci-fi.
She is, yeah.
She's done horror
Yeah.
movies. She's a man.
Even without Star Wars, she was the queen of sci-fi.
Oh, completely.
Yeah.
But this just like puts a jewel in the crown for sure.
Yeah.
That's nuts. And now somebody's
this
got to
is true.
cast her in a Star Trek thing because she's got to get like a clean sweep. Then Doctor
I still
Who.
feel like Galaxy Quest counts as Star Trek, but she
Right.
does need to be in Doctor Who. Matthew Tillard is here.
Yeah.
And Jeff, in case you didn't hear this, Ryan Gosling is going to be in a new movie called Star Wars Starfighter, which will be directed by Sean Levy, who also directed Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah, Sean
Wow.
Levy goes way back.
Cool.
Although this makes me wonder what happened to the Patty Jenkins Rogue Squadron movie. Is that a separate thing? Because
Or is it just they're hoping we'll forget about it?
right, because Star Wars Starfighter kind of just sounds really similar to me. But
I don't know. I last time I heard it was that they were just it was still in the works. So I don't know
yeah, I don't know either.
if they took off or not. Yeah.
Wacky.
Yeah. So I guess now that we've gone over everything that we know about Star Wars Celebration in Japan, in Chiba, Japan,
Right.
we should go back and
Talk about our
catch up on the
weekends.
weekends. So
boy.
I didn't do much this weekend. So I read a book and I went to the farmer's market and to a dance.
Colleen recharged her batteries. this weekend. Jeff and I, we had the same Saturday for the most part,
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
where we both got up very, very early. We went to the Great Park in Irvine. It's this very
Yes.
large park,
Yeah.
which has a soccer field where they were holding the Ronald McDonald Walk for Kids, which we did before, and I can't
Yeah.
believe it's already been a year since we did that. It
Yeah.
doesn't
Kinda
seem
flies, doesn't it?
that long ago. So so we had a couple of easy ups. We had some gear. We walked the walk with the walkers. I brought our remote control ghost trap and drove that along with the walkers. That was very fun.
Nice.
And we did a lot of goofing off there, which was pretty good. We took pictures with
That's
an avocado.
usually how it works.
See on Facebook if they posted
Yeah.
any
I had
pictures.
Yeah, I had to leave about an hour or so into it to go and help set up Anacon, the event that was following. So I missed the actual walk park.
Right. Well, and Anna, yeah, I came back from the walk and you were gone, and you were kind enough to send
Yeah.
me a text, which I didn't get because I'm like, "Where are you?" He's
Yeah, okay.
like, "I went to the library." And so yeah, we
Yeah.
had this event that overlapped by an hour. The walk ended at 11.
Yeah.
The thing at the library started at 10. It went from 10 to 4, I think. It was like 6 hours. And it that was pretty cool too. And that was a micro
Yeah.
convention.
Can I interrupt with something that's
Yeah.
a breaking news story that's political in nature, but would be good to know?
Sure.
Kilmore Abrego Garcia,
Yes.
who is the man who was kidnapped by ICE and sent to El Salvador, I believe.
That we were told the president was
Okay.
not going to release, and the president of El Salvador was not going to release.
Senator Chris Van Hollen met with him tonight. He's still alive.
Oh, thank goodness.
So thank goodness. We were very
Oh, there
worried
we
that
go.
he had been killed.
Unalived,
So,
yeah,
yeah.
as they say. Yeah, I was really worried about
Yeah.
that because they were dancing around the subject so much that it had the feeling of like, what if he died? And they say they don't want to let him go because they can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a really, we don't get too political on this show, but this is a thing that's really been bugging me. I have a big problem with people who are made to do things that they don't want to do. I can't handle it in my fiction, and it's even worse in the real world. And this whole thing's been driving me nuts, especially because there's like a lot of slandering going on for his background and whatnot. He's married here in the country. He's working with a lawyer to get his citizenship. His wife is a citizen. He's got a daughter, as I recall. There's enough going on. He has no criminal record, as I recall. And so there's enough that he should be okay here in the country. And then, of course, he got shipped off to a prison that we are paying for to have our people put in, which basically means if we're paying, if the United States is paying to put our people there, we should be able to recall anybody at any time. Because
Yeah.
we're paying for that, right? So that should be part and parcel of that. We paid for that. Oops, this guy got
Yeah.
sent there by mistake. Send him back because we don't want to pay for him to be there if he shouldn't be there. Anyway,
I'm sorry to
Go
derail
figure.
us. I just felt like it was a really important.
it is. And
Update.
I appreciate you telling me
Yeah.
about that because it's a thing I've been dwelling on for quite a long time. So consider it a mental health bump for me. Because, yeah, I think that's pretty worthy news.
So such good news that he's alive.
Yay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this event that Jeff and I went to at the Anaheim Public Library, I don't think I'd been to that branch before. And apparently they've done this event there before. and people were
Okay.
talking about previous years, but I had never been to that library or that event, so it was kind of nice to do something I hadn't done before. And
Okay.
they had tables with comic book artists and authors. They had a back patio area, which is where we were at with the Ghostbusters, and they were doing STEM science experiments with oobleck and slime and that kind of stuff. That was really fun.
Oh yeah.
And then there was a Firefly band that played Firefly songs, both from the series and they made up about the characters. They were pretty great. I got their card to see if they want to play at Worldcon when Worldcon comes here next year, because they were actually really good. And yeah, I had fun. It was very chill.
Good. Yeah, I missed part of that as well because of work. So I'm.
I will tell
Yeah.
you, Jeff, I was a
Yeah.
bit worried about you because when I got to the Ronald McDonald thing, you were gray. Yeah, you had not
Yeah,
had
I
enough
was so
sleep.
tired.
You looked really run down.
Yeah.
And then you left this other event and went right to work again. I wasn't sure you were going to make it through the weekend. It was
I
because
know,
you were looking beat.
It was rough. Yeah, the coffee helped, and I actually got after the library. I actually went home, and I think I slept for about 45 minutes. Not very much.
Yeah.
Got up and got ready and went to work. Yeah, so I was pretty toast. But
Well,
doing
glad
better
you're
now.
feeling better.
Lisa chimed in
Yeah.
over on Twitch. Hey, Lisa.
Yeah. See Lisa. Hey there. See everybody. Hi everybody.
I guess that means Lisa's not in Japan either.
Yeah.
Right.
If you're listening to us, you're probably not in Japan.
Yeah. Well, and actually, what's funny, I mean, I can go check and see if anybody's listening from Japan.
Ooh, do that.
Only
I
on
know.
the radio
I
side.
mean, that
of
would be
things,
nifty,
though.
wouldn't it?
Let me.
Yeah.
Let me. Go
I mean,
look.
I think it's
Oh
more
my
likely
goodness.
if someone's at Celebration that they would check us out on Facebook,
On-
maybe than be listening to the radio.
right
But
here.
maybe
No,
I'm wrong.
nobody is
Yeah.
tuned in on the radio side from Japan.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I feel like
I haven't
they
seen
have
the announcement.
better things.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of the announcements yet, except what we've talked about, and I probably missed some of that too. But yeah,
Well, I think I went over it all
Celebration.
once you got in. So
Yeah, and
Yeah,
Lisa
yeah.
is super plugged into Reddit, and I'm seeing a lot of announcements get made on Reddit. So
Okay.
that's that's a pretty good place to.
she says she's still riding the Starfighter
Okay.
high.
Because and I don't mean to out her here. Lisa is a super Top Gun fan,
JPL.
and basically they just announced
Okay.
Top Gun Star Wars.
Oh,
So I mean, what's not to be excited about for
Right.
that? I mean, that's got to be pretty
Yeah, I
pretty
know.
great.
it is almost lunchtime in Friday in Japan, so we will probably hear more announcements through the rest of the show. So we'll keep an ear out on that, or an eye, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, you know what they won't be eating for
Highway
lunch?
through the Castle Run.
Natto.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
No. Takoyaki though. They could have takoyaki. Octopus balls.
you know what? I felt sort of weird about eating takoyaki when I was there.
I have a hard time with it just because they keep showing us how intelligent octopus are.
That is exactly why I was so.
I feel really bad.
Yeah, I was like, I'm
Yeah.
not good with this. So I don't think that I will be having takoyaki again, ever. It just made me squeamish.
Yeah, I mean, it would be like learning cows are super intelligent, I suppose.
Right.
Yeah.
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 But yeah, that's
Lisa says, when they
That could
announced
be.
Rogue Squadron, you could probably hear me screaming in Japan. Wait, we haven't heard what they announced about Rogue Squadron. And the only thing I'm seeing is what was announced on the Mandalorian and Grogu panel. Lisa must give us news. Oh no, she says
what it was
originally announced. Okay,
Right,
don't get me
right.
confused there.
Yeah, and I'm really hoping
Make
that
everybody else have the wrong
just
information.
because they're announcing Starfighter, I'm really hoping that that doesn't mean that Rogue Squadron has been shelved. I like Patty Jenkins as a director, and I love that she was taking a personal spin on it because of her experiences with her dad. There was like a lot to like about that project. So fingers crossed that it's still happening. There's I'd hate to see one project get shelved in favor of another project. I think they should make all of them.
Yeah.
So that's me.
All right. Did you guys have more to your week? What did you do on Sunday? Anything interesting we should know about?
Nothing.
Jeff? Sunday? Monday?
Um,
Did you do more shed stuff?
the only other thing I did was the only thing I did since then was working on the shed. So because we just acquired the pallets for it, and I had to drive out to, I don't know where the heck it was, Whittier or something. I can't remember where I went to get the pallets, and then came back and because we already prepped the ground with the sand and everything, but got the pallets down, and then yesterday I put the wood down the sides. We had got like fencing wood, like fence planks,
Right.
and I put those on the side, and they were basically exactly the height we needed anyway. But it's sort of like not really support. It's more along the lines of trying to keep the sand there, inside, try to prevent the sand from coming out for the most.
Yeah.
And that's what I got. That's where we're at right now. So yeah.
Sweet.
Whee!
I sat on my can for Sunday. There was something that I guess our friend Craig Miller did a lecture.
Mm-hmm.
There was a screening of Empire, like in Irvine or something, and he went and did that. And I'm like, oh, had I known, I would have gone. Colleen went to a dance on Sunday.
Yeah.
I did, and I baked brownies.
I totally could have skipped out and gone to the movie, but I've been having a hard time breathing lately. The weed smoke's really been clobbering me this week.
I can imagine.
And so my energy level's like down, which sucks because I just want to, go out and do all the things. So, but that's okay. I did make it to Disneyland, and it was on a night that did not have a Star Wars night going on this past Tuesday.
Yeah, that's a little ways ahead. Yeah.
And right now it's spring break, and everybody's been saying how crowded Disney's going to be during spring break. I think it's not that crowded. It's I walked onto the Haunted Mansion with a 20-minute ride, and they were running it slowly, which was cool from the I could take pictures inside the ride standpoint. I left Haunted Mansion and I went back to Galaxy's Edge, where I saw the projection show, which is like the saga of Skywalker or whatever they're calling it. They're doing a projection show on the spires of Black Spire, and this show is what I wanted. So a while back, they put up this droid called Bard, and he's in the overhang on the opposite side of the Millennium Falcon. He's up there all the time. You can see that he's there. And they integrated him into the fireworks show that was going on. And so when you're in Galaxy's Edge, you can see the fireworks that they're shooting off over the castle. So you get like a free fireworks show without the music because you can't hear the media part of it. And they had an introduction by this droid, and he was like, I am Bard, and I contain the memories of this man, and da-da-da-da-da. He does a little introduction. And then they would play some music that kind of went with the fireworks. But when they weren't doing fireworks, it was just music. It's kind of boring. And they should have had Bard jump in and talk and tell a story. Well, they finally figured it
Yeah.
out. And so for this whole season of the Force, and I assume it's going to last beyond that. But for the season of the Force, they're doing 3 shows a night. They're doing an 8:30, a 9:30, and a 10:15, and it is a 15-minute projection show about Luke Skywalker, and it like sort of covers from start to finish, and they project on all of the spires. If I had been thinking ahead, I would have uploaded some of these things because it was just sort of absolutely amazing to see, and and Bard tells the story. There's a hologram of the guy who built Bard and put his memories in. I can't remember the character's name, and it was actually really terrific to see his proper use. The what I thought they should have done in the beginning.
Oh, okay.
So if you get a chance to see this, it's not a thing that they're only doing during the
nights.
Star Wars nights. Yeah,
Disney After
they're
Dark.
doing it for the whole season of the Force, and it's popular enough that I think they're going to continue it. And I was talking to some of the cast members, and they're like, "Oh, come see it at 10:15 because there'll be less of a crowd." Actually, it wasn't a jam-packed crowd when I went, and I got a perfect spot to stand in.
Okay.
I grouped up with some other shorter people, so we made sure no tall people got in front of us, because you have to stand to see it, or the Millennium Falcon will block your view. And yeah, and in fact, I was talking to a cast member when the second show started, and I listened to it, and just listening to it is pretty cool. You know, even without seeing it, it's like, wow. And so thumbs up to the show designers for that. It's really neat.
Yeah.
Really worth your time if you're not sure on it. And there are very few bad spots to see it in. And because it's projections, they're doing something unusual. When they do the fireworks, they're like, keep a path, do this, stay in this area, whatever. Because it's a projection, the farther away you are, the better it is. Ostensibly, so they shove you all the way up against the walls around, like Docking Bay 7 and that area, and where the Falcon is, and that it wasn't too impacted by people, and there's hardly a bad view. I can't think of one like I think maybe if you see it from Docking Bay 7, you might miss a little something on the left. But where I was, which was between the Falcon's cockpit and the first mandible, gosh, it was perfect. It was absolutely amazing. So yeah, really, really glad that I saw that. And then they disappointed me by not having the coaxium sipper cup anymore. they sold out of them.
Oh man. Yeah.
But
the next the next Star Wars night is on Tuesday.
Right.
So
and that's when they kick everybody out at 8. And it was pretty cool. And I talked to a lot of cast members, which were great, and had a just a nice, good, relaxing kind of evening. Stayed a little later than I had planned to, but it wasn't. It was only bad in that it got chilly, got really cold.
I noticed that.
Yeah, as you working there, you must notice it a lot. So.
Yeah, they're the last night I worked was Monday, and I was like, I just had the jacket on. I didn't have the coat with me because I had switched to the jacket because it was not getting cold. It wasn't very cold anymore. And boy, I'm up there like, rubbing my hands and trying to walk around and generate some energy or something because it was getting chilly.
Wow.
That night, I don't know why.
Our friend Randy Garcia piped in and said that he doesn't think the Star Wars nights are sold out yet. Randy's over at Universal, and I noticed that Universal is starting to do evening events now. They've got one that's like a fan fest event that looks like kind of fun to go to.
Honestly, for
Better.
people who don't have annual passes and live in Southern California, if you go to one of these evening events, if you're only going to go to Disneyland once a year, so you're like in that you have enough money to go once a year, but that's where you're going to stop. You're not going to go multiple times in a year.
Right.
One of these events makes a lot of sense.
Oh, completely.
It's roughly the same price as a day in the park. It's shorter hours, but the crowds are so much lower that you can do all the things.
Right. Well,
So,
this
as-
Universal night, so I don't have an annual pass to Universal. Jeff doesn't have an annual pass to Universal. You don't.
Universal. No.
I would consider going to one of these because they let you out in Town Courthouse Square, like where Back to the Future was shot.
that's cool.
They let you out there to go like wander around. Jeff and I have Jaws costumes now, and it would be really fun to like go find the Jaws stuff at Universal and do that. You know, there's I would do one of those events. I think it would be pretty fun, and it would be pretty cool.
Star Wars
Star Trek
Nights
set, yeah.
tickets are still available for April 22nd, 24th, 29th,
Yeah.
1st, and 6th.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's interesting. I noticed a lot of people coming into the parks for
Yeah.
Star Wars night, and to the point where I actually sent Colleen a note, and I sent a note to our friend Roberta, who works for Disney, and I said, you know what they need to do is they need to hire me to have a costume repair area, because so many people came in their Star Wars costumes that otherwise would have looked terrific if they only knew how to wear them. Like, you have Jedi robes and they look fine, but you're wearing
Yeah.
them wrong. Just little tweaks. And there were a
Yep.
few people that I pulled aside who were like struggling with their costume, and I stopped them and I said, if you like, I can help you with that. And then with their permission, I then like one guy put his leather belt on the outside of his outer robe, which made him look like a monk, and was keeping it tight to his legs. He was stumbling over it. He basically became the person that Disney's afraid of, bringing in long costumes into the park. And so we took the belt off, we put it around his waist inside the robe, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, this is so much better." And I'm like, "And now you look like a Jedi, and you don't look like a monk, and you're comfortable."
Yeah.
It's like, it was a basic thing. But
Yeah.
you know, if you don't know, you don't know.
It's kind of interesting. The Fan Fest nights at Universal are all on weekends, and they are from
Oh, wow.
7 p.m. to 2 a.m.
Wow.
April 25th through
Yeah.
May 18th.
And I think they're slightly cheaper than Disney.
There's actually
They must be
one
cheaper.
Thursday, and everything else is Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
That kind of makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. The Disney ones are 169. They're not cheap.
Yeah, I
You
think
know,
the ones
for
at Universal are about
a little bit more than a
120.
day.
But Colleen's looking at them right now, so she
I
probably.
am trying to look up the prices right
Yeah.
now.
Ben
Yeah,
is
no idea what the Universal charges.
Ben's
Randy
watching
should
over
know.
on Facebook, and he says he's going on May the 4th. I will be at Disneyland on May the 4th, but they're going to kick me out.
Actually, Fan Fest nights are cheaper than Star Wars nights.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Oh, I'm sorry. I
think
thought you
so.
said they were the same.
No, I figured they were about 120, but that
No.
even may be.
General admission to Universal Fan Fest nights is the lowest price is $74 per person,
Wow.
and then they've got
Hey, look at that. That's awesome.
admission express access is $173, so it's $100 more to get express access, and it's $203 for unlimited express access.
Right. So that's their fast pass version. I'm less likely to do a lot of their rides, though. We always joke about all their rides being the same. Put you in a car, maybe give you 3D
Yeah.
glasses, shake you around a bit, throw you over a cliff, and get you wet. There's like all
Yep.
their rides do that. But that said, I would love to walk around Courthouse Square. You know, if they're letting you over by the Psycho House, that would be a blast.
It's actually really interesting the different ticket combos they have. They have a ticket where you can get in at 2 p.m. and go to FanFest. They've got one you can get in at 5 p.m. They've got unlimited, so it's like an annual pass to the FanFest nights. And then some combinations of more than one day and a VIP tour. It's interesting.
Well, and
okay.
Lisa sent over something I'd heard about but didn't have a lot of information on, which was they are Universal Studios Hollywood has Star Trek sets as well. And of course, if you go back far enough, you remember that they used to have a Star Trek experience where they would take you, if you were chosen as a volunteer, they would either make you a Klingon and put you in costume and put you on the bridge of a Klingon ship, or they would put you on the bridge of a Federation starship and they'd costume you up and they would record this, intercut it with Star Trek footage from like Wrath of Khan, and you would have a battle against the Klingons. And you would come out of there with a mini episode, and if you were just in the audience, you would watch this all happen, and it was like, this is how movies are made. And it was a lot of fun. I got to do that occasionally, and we also, I think, made some props for it back when I was making props, because they used to break them all the time. And they would come to us for replacements, and the experience was super cool. And the experience it replaced was like airport. So it was like an airplane disaster movie. And like, in fact, you would have to like dive out of the plane in a water landing and splash into the water. Like, it was crazy. And then of course they'd let you dry off, and you got a video cassette of your adventure, and they gave you clothes you could get wet in. It was very complicated. And so they replaced the airport disaster movie thing with the Star Trek thing that went for quite a while. And here, I guess they have sets from Star Trek Picard. They've got like a bridge, an entire bridge.
They've got the USS Enterprise D from Star Trek Picard. They've got the ability to go in and experience the town square, the courthouse from Back to the Future. They've got a Dungeons and Dragons adventure, a One Piece meetup with Luffy and the Straw Hat crew.
That's fun.
Something that I don't know called Jujutsu Kaisen, where you can meet characters and they do a heroic jujutsu battle.
Ooh.
And they have, at the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, they've got a Niffler, a baby dragon, or Akame, and celebrate your house pride at Hogwarts with a Hogwarts Always, a breathtaking new show. And
I think that's a projection show.
The final thing is Super Nintendo World has a Yoshi celebration.
There is also a Wicked meet and greet with Elphaba and Glinda.
Oh, that's not on my list here.
Elphaba. Elphaba? Elphaba. I was right the second time.
Elphaba.
Yeah, I mean it looks pretty cool, and there's the Star Trek thing is that I guess it's also kind of a maze, like the Halloween Horror Nights. Steven Sierks, who is the senior director of entertainment at Universal Studios Hollywood and the executive producer of FanFest Nights, says it's a bit of a choose-your-own-adventure along the way. Star Trek Red Alert is set in the area of the Star Trek Picard thing, and the walk-to attraction will ferry guests onto the USS Enterprise. The story that the ship is docked in a museum, and then things go wrong.
So the Universal costume guidelines are attached to each of these FanFest pages.
Oh, are they?
And there are a couple of things here that would affect our group, our Merry Band.
Oh, are we too much fun for them?
Well, specifically Sean, if he were to do a Harry Potter impression, prosthetic makeup that conceals any part of the face other than the forehead including makeup that conceals the eyes, is not permitted.
Well, if I did that,
There you
I
go.
could remove the eye and just put it on for photos. And I have seen many people in the park with that makeup.
Okay.
I've seen people go in as Mad Eye.
Service animals may not wear or be part of a costume.
I have 3 service dogs, and they're costuming Cerberus right now.
Well, I mean, I do know somebody
But what
who
about a shark?
used to claim that her dogs
We are
were
not
service
bringing a
dogs.
real shark, Jeff.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what you missed at the event that we did for Ronald McDonald? There was a table for Dave and Buster's, and they were giving away squishy animals with buggy eyes, and they did have a shark.
I do have one more that I'd like to read that doesn't have anything to do with us, but is interesting. Costume guideline from Universal. Face painting, both full and partial face, is permitted, provided that alcoholic beverages will not be served to guests whose face painting covers more than one half of the face, applied vertically at Universal Studios Hollywood or at any venue owned or operated by Universal at Universal City Walk Hollywood.
What?
Universal reserves the right to refuse to serve alcohol to anyone if we are unable to verify the identity of the guest in our sole discretion, according with state law.
I mean, I can see if your makeup makes it difficult to compare to the ID they need to check to make sure you're of age.
I think that's what they're saying.
But the vertical part of it is hysterical.
I know. What it applied vertically.
Applied vertically. I mean, what if I just do horizontal across my eyes? I mean, that's
I don't know.
gotta be weird.
I'm sure that there's
like what?
something that precipitated this.
I'm sure it's just so specific.
Yeah.
It really makes me laugh. Honestly, I was
So
kind of on the
bizarre.
fence about Star Wars night for Disney after our experience last year, which
Yeah.
wasn't terrible. It was just kind of meh. And I'm hearing that from people now this year that basically it's like Star Wars budget cut night from a lot of people who've been going. They're
Oh.
like, it's
Oh.
like
Okay.
they reined so much stuff back in, and they've cut so much stuff they used to do that was really cool.
That's a bummer.
It is kind of a bummer.
I don't know.
And so the people who have attended so far have been saying that it's not as cool as past years. And nothing, of course, for
I
us.
don't know.
Nothing for us is going to beat the first year where they let us be the parade.
I know.
And
I
let us
know.
in for free, and did whatever. I mean, that's nothing. Nothing can ever beat that. But this Universal night really kind of sounds fun, and I'm not a huge fan of Universal
Yeah.
Studios, but I don't know. I think it seems kind of cool.
Well, Don's got his ticket.
Yeah. Maybe we
And,
should find out when Dawn is going. Hey, Dawn, you want to
He's
dress like
going on
Quint
May
again?
10th.
I know.
Yeah, kind of interesting.
And Benjamin Salcedo is going to Star Wars night on May 4th.
Yeah, I think I mentioned that earlier.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But yeah, that's May
okay.
4th's the day to be there. Yeah, I said that I was going to be there on May 4th, but they're going to kick me out because I'm not going to Star Wars night. But I do have a reservation for May the 4th. So, yeah, I'm kind of impressed with the thing for Universal, and in fact,
I
here
mean, the Back to the Future thing, they're letting you walk in the square.
I know,
That's-
which is great, right? Although it is nighttime, so like if you want pictures during the day, you would have to make that your first trip down there.
Or buy a early admission.
But
You can pay extra to get in early. But
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
how it works, like if they only
That's
let you
true.
in at certain times or something. Who knows?
Yeah.
This
I mean,
is Dungeons and
if they had a
Dragons.
Ghostbuster night,
right, but I mean, they're expecting people in costume. Ghostbusters is a universal thing in Florida. So, I mean, I don't think they would stop you from coming in Ghostbuster stuff. I just don't think they have much to do for that. So, But yeah, I mean, this Dungeons and Dragons stuff looks pretty cool.
We should probably move on. Everybody's probably.
Ah,
Well, we're getting to the top of the
I
hour,
suppose so.
and I am reluctant to start in on Star Wars news and
You got
stuff
like 5 minutes.
at the
Okay.
top
Yeah.
of the hour. But I also don't think I have like anything else to really talk about.
Yeah,
I will
yeah.
say that, and we didn't get to go to this because we don't rate. But Andor had its premiere at the El Capitan Theater this past week, and so I know a lot of people who went to
Yeah.
that, and it seemed pretty fun.
Mm-hmm.
I see the same people who go to the premieres every time. So
Well, I mean, you used to be one of the people who went to every premiere.
I went to every other premiere. They used to hold a lottery to do it.
Oh.
And so
Yeah, pretty much,
So we
yeah.
went to like every other premiere. But yeah, all the pictures that I see are all of the same. I'm like, I know them, and they go to all of them, which is funny. I'm always excited for the people who haven't done it before who do get to go, because they're always
Yeah,
pretty
totally.
excited. But anyway, it looked like a pretty fun time, and some of the people I know kind of went as entertainers. I have a friend who has a K2SO droid that he operates as a puppet, and he went and worked the red carpet with that. That was very cool, and things like that. So yeah, that was a pretty big deal this week, and
Yeah, I remember something.
the El Capitan's a good theater. It's funny because it's also a little, and maybe this is just because it's really old, or they made a decision or something to like jam too many seats in there. It's small. Like the seats are small, and if you go up into the balcony and you sit in the front row, like there's nowhere to put your feet.
Oh gosh.
They have another
Yeah,
announcement
every
from
time I've
Star
done
Wars
that,
Celebration. There's a game called Star Wars Outlaws, and they have a new story pack called A Pirate's Fortune, introducing a new character named Kay Vess, and her really cute little pet that looks kind of like the little dog that from Extraterrestrial.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Well, because there's already
it's like an alien puppy.
there's already a character like when they did the first release of this game. There was already an alien puppy.
Yeah.
Oh, well, maybe the alien puppy is not new, but
It's got
Kay
like
Vess is
6
new.
tentacles coming out of its head and
Yes.
big ol' eyes. Yeah, that character's been in the game for a while, and in fact, people are trying to recreate it with animatronics, which are amazing.
It says Kay Vess and her trusty partner Nix are about to hear some outlandish tales firsthand when they meet Onaka in Star Wars Outlaws: A Pirate's Fortune.
So they meet Hondo.
Yeah.
Well, that's fun.
So Hondo is new, I guess, not.
Right.
Oh, I'm sorry. I read this incorrectly. I thought it was saying it introduces Kay Vess, which it does say. It says the latest story pack introduces Kay Vess to everyone's favorite pirate.
Right. But Kay Vess has been in the game since its
Right.
release, and Nix
Hondo
is
is the new
sidekick.
one. I thought Hondo had been in the game all along,
Yeah.
and that Kay Vess was this new character.
No, it's poorly
Yeah.
written.
Yeah.
I'm
They
gonna-
were trying to be clever, and they didn't make it easy
I
to
gotta go with
figure it
that.
out.
But Nix is apparently a Merkwall, and
Is that the alien puppy?
that's the alien puppy.
Yeah.
And it is suitably adorable, and does all the things you want your puppy to do, like sit on your shoulder and hang on your backpack and save you from getting shot. All the kind of things
Right.
that we expect from our animals.
The new
that's
pack
what I
is
works out, yeah.
automatically accessible and free to Star Wars Outlaws season pass owners, or available for separate purchase for $15.
Okay. I'm trying to remember if I ever bought that game. I meant to, because I really wanted to play it, and it's because I love first-person single-player games like that, and I think you can also use it with
Yeah.
our VR headset, where you can plug the headset into the computer and like see the world in VR, and I kind of wanted to do that
In case
too.
you want to throw up.
Well,
Cool.
yeah, I throw up anyway. Fake first person point of view games really throw me.
Not as badly as they throw me.
So no, that's true.
Yeah.
And I have less of a problem with the VR than I do with it sitting here at my desk. I tried to replay the Ghostbusters game, and it really kind of made me sick. It was bad. While we're here at the top of the hour,
Oh, there we are.
let me remind you that you could be listening to this show on sci-fi.radio. That's a URL. We've got all sorts of nerd news up there. There are a variety of ways to listen to the show. I think we got the login correct to get the podcast automatically uploaded from here. We'll check on that at the end of the show. Although we still seem to be having audio issues getting the show started for whatever reason. So apologies for that. Although we've been on the station for 12 years or something. I don't know. It's been a long time. This show has been going on almost 14 years because we're crazy like that. You could be watching us, which we've only been doing for a few years, on YouTube or Twitch or Facebook. Say hi, drop us a note, give us a follow, any of those things that let us know that you have been there, because we always like to know that you have been there. And we appreciate it. Boba-Kit Sovine is out tonight working at the ballpark, and she's usually keeps our documents straight for us so that we know what the heck we're talking about, which she very kindly did, and in fact popped in on her half-hour break to make a few updates with all this new news that's coming in. So we're grateful to her for doing that. We don't get paid for this. We do it from, the goodness of our heart, and Kit gets paid even less than we don't get paid. I'm Sean Obi-Shawn Crosby.
This is Jeff Soledado.
I'm Colleen Kaylee Crosby.
Thanks for hanging out with us on a Thursday night. We've got 1 hour to go. We've been talking about all the Star Wars news coming in from Japan and our weekends and all that kind of stuff. We haven't gotten to Star Wars news proper, so why don't we throw it over to Jeff and get some of that going on?
Yeah, okay. Okie dokie. Alrighty. Let's see here. I guess we're starting with the birthdays for today, or this past week. Sorry. Our first birthday is April 12th, 1914. That was when Gilbert Taylor was born. He was the cinematographer for A New Hope, or originally just plain old Star Wars.
Regular old Star Wars.
But also, and he also, funny enough, like a lot of the guys that worked on Star Wars, he worked on Flash Gordon as well. So, and a bunch of the,
So obviously he's British.
Yes. Hey, we've worked on Monopoly Star Wars, whatever that is. Weird, huh? But
Monopoly Star Wars.
So he did Dracula, and
Sweet. Yeah, he
had 72 credits and stuff. So he didn't just do Star Wars and stuff, just that. He had normal things.
Right, but
not just sci-fi.
He obviously works in the UK and does all the local movies out there. So right on.
Dr. Strangelove, yeah. So wow, it is amazing how much stuff this guy worked on. Pretty cool. Let me close that part there. The next one on the list is April 17th, 1951. That's when Olivia Hussey was born. And she, for Star Wars, she
did a bunch of games.
She was in the Rogue Squadron game, and Jet Force Commander and stuff, and Old Republic. So she was like Cassan Moore and an ATA driver and Habitant Refugee, Yuan Parr in Old Republic. So voice acting for that.
Rogue Squadron was one of those.
It
was one of those interesting games that was on rails. You basically had to do the adventure they made you do, which was really. But it doesn't mean it was any less fun. But Olivia Hussey is I always think of her as a legitimate actress because she goes back to 1960.
Mm-hmm.
8 maybe is like her first big role where she was Juliet in Romeo and Juliet. It was Franco
Yes.
Zeffirelli's
Yeah.
Italian version, and it was huge. It was a huge hit. It like put her on the
Mm-hmm.
map, and she had only done kind of like little stuff after that, and it looked like her career was gonna like explode from, and then it didn't,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
was weird.
Yeah.
She did do
Something bad
the
happened.
TV miniseries Jesus of Nazareth as Mary,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember
Yeah.
her from that. But yeah,
Yeah.
I really thought
Lonesome
her,
Dove the series.
and she was
Pinky and the Brain. Come on. So think of the
right. Well, and she was also Norma Bates in Psycho 4,
Yeah.
which is kind of an interesting role to take on.
Yeah.
Although
Weird sequel of
if you
sorts.
say Psycho 4 too quickly, it sounds like Cycle 4, which was the dog food.
Yeah. So gotta look out for that. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it could have been just as successful.
Right.
Yeah. And the last birthday is April 17th, 1962. Joe Olasky was born. He was the voice of important merchant, interpreter, or whatever, and someone with Watto in the Phantom Menace video game. That's his connection to Star Wars.
Oh my
Other than
gosh.
that, boy,
He took over.
160 credits, folks.
Yeah, he took over for Mel Blanc when Mel Blanc passed away in
Yeah.
a lot of roles. He did Bugs Bunny, did Daffy Duck,
Yeah.
Yosemite Sam. In Who Framed Roger Rabbit, he was Yosemite
Yep.
Sam. So my biscuits are burning. That was him.
Yes.
He was Duck Dodgers, which of course is Daffy Duck.
Yep.
An incredible voiceover actor. And I think he was in. Wasn't he also in Tiny Toon Adventures? He was like Plucky Duck or something
Yep.
in there.
Yes. Yeah. He's plucky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
It's just 160 credits, and it's all voice acting basically. I don't know how much he did as just himself, like as an actor. I don't know how much he's actually did. I think it was for the most part all voiceover.
right. He did some sitcom work early on. So he was in Night Court, and he was in Head of the Class. But most of his stuff is voiceover work. It's very little on-camera stuff.
Gotcha.
Very interesting.
Well, there you go.
Right on. What do we got for history?
Joe Olasky. We are going to get this here. April 15th, 1978, John Williams conducted the Sounds of Space concert in Marin County.
The Sounds of Space
Sort of,
concert.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. It was 78, so there was Star Wars obviously, but I think there were more than just Star Wars.
Well, he also did Close Encounters by that point, and I wonder if he had done the Hollywood Bowl by that point, because somewhere around that time I first saw him at the Hollywood Bowl. Let's see. I'm looking to see if there's a playlist for that concert. It's really interesting. A lot of people put playlists up on thing, but not this one apparently. So it's and there are lots of Sounds of Space concerts at various things.
Yeah.
So it would have been interesting to see what his playlist was. I'll have to do a little bit of research to see when he first played the Hollywood Bowl, because they make a big deal out of it at the Hollywood Bowl. I'm almost inclined to go see him again this year, because his last impromptu appearance that we reported on last week, he was in a wheelchair. I'm starting to get very nervous.
Yeah.
And it's John Williams is such like a valued part of my life, and his music has been the soundtrack of my life pretty much for most of it. Before I even knew who the heck he was. So it's going to be a hard one when he passes away. I know it right now that I'm not going to do well.
Yeah.
So
not going to get through that. Yeah, that's going to be hard.
Yeah, not so much.
I understand. Second one here, April 17th, 1983. That's when the National Library Association, they launched an ad with Yoda. Read and the force is with you. So he's holding a book, and that's it. Yeah. Not really sure if that's exactly how he would say it, but
now
something around there.
Maybe this is the Mandela effect, or maybe there was more than one poster. But I remember one that said, "Read you will," which sounded very much like Yoda. And because so basically there was a whole series of these things where they did celebrities with posters. All right, I have the poster here, and it really does say, "Read and the force is with you." But in my head, it's always been "Read you will," but I guess not. And so they took a stock picture and photoshopped a book into it. It's very cute. And but yeah, there was one with Harrison Ford. I think they did one with 3PO and R2. They had some pretty cool ones done at one point. So
okay, cool. And the last one is April 11th, 1995. That's when Star Wars Droids #1 was published, which I believe was a Dark Horse comic. Yeah. And it's basically kind of, I think it's probably more of a comedy just by the thought of it, but because it has R2-D2 and C-3PO are basically deputized to go catch a smuggler named Ola Grek, a 4-issue miniseries.
Well, and it's called Droids Rebellion. So does that mean the droids are rebelling?
I'm not necessarily sure. It's just telling me, but it shows little droids flying around behind a 3PO in the picture of the first cover. So
interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, you got me there.
Yeah, I don't remember reading it at all.
Yeah.
Is it okay if I move on?
Yeah.
The British Film Institute is publicly screening the original cut of Star Wars on June 12th. And at the same festival, Kyle MacLachlan will be introducing a screening of the original 35mm print of the Twin Peaks pilot.
Oh, man. Stupid screenings in England. Now, to be fair, the version of the of Star Wars that they're showing is probably very close to the one that Jeff and I saw at the Visual Effects Society. We went to a screening of Rogue One and Star Wars as a double feature, and they showed the earliest version of Star Wars they could get their hands on. And so it was pre-special edition, but they had added Episode 4. I think that was the change.
Well, this is one of a handful of remaining dye transfer IB Technicolor prints made for Star Wars original release in the UK for release in December of 1977. It's been being kept in the Institute's National Film Archive.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it may be just a tiny bit earlier than the one that we saw. Because I don't remember, Jeff, if they did have the episode 4 or not in that show that we saw. So I just know that it was like a really early version, and I thought they pulled it from
Yeah.
USC and their library. And so at USC, they sort of
Yeah.
have every version of Lucas's films that they can, and have done restoration to them, which is really nice. So
This is interesting.
Yeah, I don't know.
The original cut of Star Wars was made available for streaming last month on Roku through the Cinema Box for a handful of days before it was promptly pulled from access.
yep, it was gone by the time I tried to find it. But
Oh.
I also don't know if how old that one was. It may have just been
Yeah.
the one that they released with the DVD as a special feature, because they basically did a 2-disc set where one was a special edition and one was the very early release of Star Wars. And so it may have
Gotcha.
just been that.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it was
Could be.
it was a huge deal when they did it, but it only lasted for a few days because basically it went everywhere on the internet, and I think Disney, Lucasfilm, 20th Century Fox, somebody in there basically went, "No, take it down."
Yeah.
And so
Oh, and I put a link to something in our Facebook chat messenger thing,
yeah.
and you'll see it when you click on it.
On let's see.
Oh, it's a read you will vintage button.
Yep.
So yeah, I saw this when I was looking for it. It was a later version. It was from
yeah.
The Phantom
But,
Menace.
yeah. I see stuff that say read you must as well, but I haven't found a picture of Yoda saying read you will as the Empire Strikes Back Yoda or something.
Yeah. Well, and what's funny,
But, you know.
and I'll show you guys this over on video. This is the Cro-Magnon Yoda that we like to call him. So this is him there, and so it's the very burly puppet from episode 1 that they then replaced with CG that looked a little more like regular Yoda. When they decided to
Yeah.
make him younger for whatever reason, they like really he got ripped, and his face is
Yeah,
like
it was
all weird.
just bizarre. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of strange, But yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
do remember this one. I thought they had one of the classic Yoda too.
Yeah.
But
And he aged a lot, like, 29 years or so. He aged a lot.
I think that's just the hardship of the Star Wars universe. Look how much Obi-Wan Kenobi aged just by being on Tatooine. At the age of 60, he looked so much older than he should have. And so that's the problem I have. Like the more I play Obi-Wan and old Luke, the more I feel like I actually look like them. And there's like, although I'm 3 years away from Alec Guinness's age when he played Obi-Wan.
Gotcha.
But Mark Hamill's got like 15 years on me. I'm like,
Man.
Okay, so did we talk about Andor's premiere at all? I mean, like we mentioned it.
we talked
but-
about the El Capitan premiere, but I specifically think that this article is about the London premiere, right?
It is about the London premiere.
Right. And I
Yeah.
didn't mention that at all because I didn't know anyone who went to that.
Diego Luna went to it. Do you know him?
Smart ass.
Stellan Skarsgård was there.
I'm talking about people I might
People
hang
you've
out
met.
with. I don't hang out with Diego Luna. I'm willing to change that.
Right.
But yeah, that's for
well,
now.
if you had to choose, well, actually, I was going to say if you had to choose between Diego Luna and Stellan Skarsgård, who would you hang out with?
Probably Diego Luna.
But then I saw an image that has Diego Luna and K2SO in it. So who would you hang out with between Diego Luna and Alan Tudyk?
Well, I have met Alan Tudyk on several occasions,
Okay.
and I worked on Con Man as an extra and talk to him there. So I actually have more experience with K2SO than I have with Cassian Andor. So, I mean, always go with a person you haven't met. Of course, invite everybody. I mean, everybody's welcome to come to dinner.
Oh, okay.
I'll go to dinner with all of them.
That's for sure. Geez, man.
That'd be great. I mean, why limit yourself?
Right.
She'll show up.
Sure.
I don't really, there's not much in our article. It just talks about the people who are there, the people who are in the show, and it's premiering on April 22nd on Disney Plus.
Yahoo!
But
Can I say something really kind of quick though?
no.
Uh-oh.
One of the things that's been really interesting about Andor, as people are revisiting the first series to get prepared for the second series, people are getting really uncomfortable with the whole Andor being sent to prison to work in a work camp
You think?
wrongfully. Yeah, it is weirdly on the nose right now.
Yeah.
Disturbingly so. And I'm seeing a lot of people kind of going, oh, God. And like, we're there. We're seeing this happen right now in the United States in front of us. And that's an interesting thing to watch happen. And so I'm wondering, with this new series that's coming, what kind of parallels are going to be in that are similar to what's happening right now? Because that there's all sorts of possibility that that's going to happen.
Empire Magazine has a couple of articles. Well, they have one article. Actually, you know what? A whole bunch of different people have articles about Tony Gilroy, who is a writer or a showrunner for Andor.
I think he's
a writer.
The writer.
He did some interviews, and so all of the various magazines are quoting from this interview.
Okay.
And he basically said that without The Mandalorian, Andor would never have been made. And he talked about, the quote is, "We were protected all the way down the line. Kathy Kennedy protected us. Lucasfilm protected us. Bob Iger protected us. The audience protected us. The Mandalorian protected us. We had all these people out there backing our play." Because it was done on such a big scale. That's why they needed all this protection that he's talking about. But if it hadn't been for the success of The Mandalorian, it wouldn't have happened.
I think a lot of the Star Wars we're getting right
Good
now
chance.
wouldn't have happened if one of these shows hadn't hit. If The Mandalorian didn't hit and they just called it quits because they're like, maybe this is not the route we need to go. Because if they didn't have success basically on television with streaming to tell long-form stories more than the movies, if they'd have given up on that, we'd have missed out on a lot of stuff.
So Business Insider is reporting that Tony Gilroy is the Andor creator. They credit him as being the writer, creator, and showrunner.
Okay.
Oh.
Did he work on Rogue One? Because somebody came in and did some additional work on Rogue One, and I wonder if it was Tony Gilroy.
I don't know.
As well.
But they said that that Disney is currently working on a horror project within the Star Wars universe. And then he joked that he'd like to see a 3-camera sitcom in the Star Wars or a horror movie. But I can't tell whether he was joking or he was serious.
Yeah, well,
because the first sentence is that that Disney is working on a horror project in the Star Wars universe, and the second one is him joking that he'd like to see a horror movie. So we don't actually know.
Well, and there have been horror stories written in Star Wars. There have been a bunch of books and stuff. Like we had the zombie stormtroopers of Death Trooper and things like that.
It says, asked what he would do with a Star Wars horror project, he said Lucasfilm and Disney already had one in development. They're doing that. I think they're doing that. I think it's in the works, yeah. And Disney did not immediately respond to a request for comment. I think it might be a joke.
Maybe.
I mean, you never know.
I mean, I don't know that
It's
he is
entirely
working on
possible.
anything or has heard of everything, but he's just saying what he'd like to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to say, but you know.
Regarding Tony Gilroy, he came in to do reshoots on Rogue One. Gareth Edwards came up with the Rogue One script and story and stuff, and for the reshoots they brought Tony Gilroy in. He apparently did some consolidation of the story where if you look at the trailer, there's like lots of running across the beach and a bunch of stuff like this. And they had 2 locations where they had to get the plans, and they had to broadcast the plans and do a bunch of things like that. Tony Gilroy apparently did the sort of consolidation of that to cut things down, whatnot. We don't know exactly how much he worked on Rogue One, but he did do it. So he went into Andor with some understanding of Rogue One and its characters, thus, Andor doing that. So, but there's a whole bunch of things where, like, nobody really knows for sure. There's no like definitive answer as to how much he actually did on it. But there was a director's cut of the movie that Gareth Edwards did, and then Tony Gilroy came in to tighten things up, either because Edwards wasn't available or whatever. So, but we don't officially know.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one of the things that will be talked about at Star Wars Celebration is a new game that is coming out, made by BitReactor and Respawn and Lucasfilm Games. It is a game called Star Wars Zero Company, where you recruit a crew and go do missions.
Okay. So kind of like a squad-based game?
Yeah, it says
it's
recruit an unconventional team of operatives and deploy them on missions, unlike any other in the galaxy. And it is a single-player turn-based tactics game.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, yeah. So that's pretty much what I thought it was.
Which are weird. Yeah.
Also coming out now is a Lego Star Wars chopper.
I saw that. It was kind of cute.
Yeah, it looks like it's like maybe 4 or 5 inches tall.
He's probably in scale with the other droids they've been releasing. There's a C-3PO that they did. There's an R2. These are considered advanced adult models to build. And from what I understand, in the case of Chopper, who is kind of about half the size of R2 body-wise, they had a hard time adding the sort of special features that they put in their R2 model back into Chopper, and they had to like redesign all of the engineering in it to make it happen.
This set is primarily based on Chopper's representation in Ahsoka, particularly in some of the smaller details. But Star Wars Rebels fans should keep an eye out for some of Chopper's well-kept rebellion secrets, as there are 1 or 2 nods to his Star Wars Rebels appearance hidden inside the build for the fans to find.
Well, it is super cute,
cool.
and let me throw that up for y'all over here. I mean, it's a pretty good representation of Chopper, I think.
It's coming out tomorrow.
Okay, so if you have a Lego store nearby, might want to run out to that. Although it is interesting that the antenna on top of his head is like considerably larger than we usually see it. It's usually like close to his head and whatnot.
Oh, I know.
A little bigger. But yeah, he's got his deployable arms and things like that. It's all told, I think it's a pretty good shot. And there are some differences between Chopper in Ahsoka and Chopper in Rebels. So that's kind of fun. Everyone's favorite war criminal robot, man.
Our last two items are kind of dumb.
Kind of dumb.
They are.
Okay.
The Sean Levy movie that is coming out that they just talked about called Starfighter, Star Wars Starfighter. An actress named Mikey Madison was in talks for a role, but she passed on the role, so she won't be in it.
She just won an Oscar, so honestly, she can do whatever the heck she wants.
And she probably doesn't want to be followed around by fans for the rest of her life.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's probably part of it, but she's also already kind of in having a problem because the last movie that she did and the thing she won an Oscar for, she played a stripper. And so she's already got her own creepy bevy of stalkers because she's largely naked in the movie. So that's a bit of a problem for her. But having won the Oscar, and she's let's see, 19. She's only like 20.
She looks young.
6, something like that. She was born in 1999. She's young. She's just starting her career. She's already got an Oscar. She can write her own ticket. She doesn't have to do Star Wars for anything. Unless she wants to do Star Wars. And it sounded like she was interested for a while. I read a number of articles that said that they were discussing it, doing whatever, and maybe she'd do it. But I feel that was also before she got her Oscar, too. Because that changes everything.
Yeah.
It is sometimes for better, sometimes for worse. But, and sometimes getting an Oscar will completely torpedo your career. Where you're like,
well, nobody thinks they can afford you anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And they're like, going to pass on you and do whatever. So she's got to make some pretty serious career moves right now. Star Wars is always a pretty safe fallback. And if she decides in a year or two, she's like, oh, hey, regarding Star Wars, I'm sure they'll find a spot for her as an Oscar winner.
The other
most likely.
no-brainer article here says that Diego Luna is sad that his role as Cassian Andor is ending.
Right, he's sad that he died in the movie, that they're retconning that.
He's sad that he won't be in any more Andor
Star Wars.
Well,
I
also saw something. I don't remember where it was. I think it was at work. Somebody was like, "Oh, they confirmed that there will only be 2 seasons of Andor." I'm like, well, it's got kind of a final ending there.
Do you think?
And you could go back and do a prequel, but
well, and they didn't set it far enough back to do many, many years, which I think is fine. Yeah. I think the knowledge of impending doom adds to the whole anxiety level of Andor.
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah. I mean, he could go to Marvel.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, that Diego Luna he can do a lot more, and there will be a lot more to his career. But this particular bit is over. I'm laughing because I opened up the next article. The next thing we have to talk about is theme parks. And we have somebody else who lost it at Disneyland.
This was so funny.
Took all his clothes off. And the video is hysterical because he took his clothes off and then he climbed up on top of the canopy surrounding
Tiana's palace.
Yeah.
Sorry,
the video won't reload anymore. It's gone on to another story.
Oh, that's okay. I'm getting ready to.
Oh, you're going to show it.
Load it over here.
It is funny.
They have suitably blurred his naked butt. I
kind of think this one's better than the guy who took off his clothes in
Small World.
Small World.
So, like, the balcony that he's up on is like Club 33.
Yeah.
balcony.
Maybe he went crazy in Club 33.
And I can't believe he didn't
whoa.
fall through these.
What the
Through
heck?
the canopy.
Thank goodness for him that those are all new.
Yeah.
Good
because
gravy.
otherwise he would have fallen completely right through there.
Yeah.
Those people were treated to a show.
Right? Exactly. I mean,
Like,
look,
woo!
Oh man.
I wear a kilt.
Dinner and a show.
I wear a kilt to Disneyland, and when I go to Disneyland, I'll wear a pair of shorts under it because there's lots of tiny tots running around that could easily get a look up my kilt, and I don't think that's fair to
Yeah,
them
get that regimental deal.
to do that. So, I wear a pair of shorts. I always tell the security guards that I am, so they don't get freaked out. This guy, though, he's just blowing in the breeze, and it was certainly more exciting than the guy at It's a Small World, who I guess was on drugs. Maybe this guy was on drugs, too.
I don't know.
Probably.
But if you're going to get a lifetime
Yeah,
ban from Disneyland, I mean, why not do it naked?
I just wonder if, like,
Yep.
the crowds or something is the final thing that put these people over the top. I mean, even on drugs, what causes you to rip all your clothes off?
Yeah,
Well-
I mean, it could just be a mental breakdown, and he could have issues too. So
Right.
on
I mean,
prescription medication and
I
it
just
just went
wonder
completely-
what the, were his clothes all itchy? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, and we've certainly encountered a lot of people who have preloaded drugs on the way into the park. They've preloaded alcohol on the way into the park. People feel they need chemical enhancement for some reason to go into Disneyland, and sometimes it does not work out for them. I've seen drunk people. We did. Colleen and I did. We saw drunk people kind of bounce their way down from the monorail because the monorail used to go to the hotel, which had bars in it. So guys that get drunk, they get on the monorail, they come back into the
Yeah,
park, and they
yeah.
go around Disneyland drunk. All sorts of things
Yeah.
like that. And I run into people who smoke weed in the park all the time, which I think is ridiculous. So it's,
Jeez.
but yeah,
Just
it
have
could, he could have become dehydrated. I had a boss
Could be anything.
that I used to work with at Griffith Observatory. He retired. He went to Sedona,
Yeah.
and he was running around taking pictures. He got dehydrated. He took off all his clothes and started suggesting the
Yay.
women he met on the trail also take their clothes off. And what's really interesting about this, he was a great photographer. He was running around taking pictures. I'm sure he was like doing a regular good job. But because he got chemically imbalanced somehow, he was the most straight-laced, stuck-up kind of guy, like shirt button to the top button. He was a cranky old guy.
Okay.
You never saw this coming in a million years. But he got dehydrated. He didn't have enough water in his system, and he went loopy, and off came his clothes, and he was trying to get other people to join him. So, I mean, you never know what's going to happen with people. Crazy. So, but
And-
I love that all the
Yeah.
visitors are categorized as horrified.
I bet there
Yeah,
were some
yeah,
that
yeah.
were amused.
Oh, I would have been laughing my butt off.
Yeah.
That would have been so funny.
I
I'm
mean,
kind of
you-
sad I
you-
missed
You get
this.
the jambalaya, and you don't expect to have a show, but
I mean, you missed the cars catching on fire. You missed the naked guys both times.
My timing sucks.
It really does.
This said that men in black shirts appeared out of nowhere to stop the incident. So the Disney strike team showed up.
Right.
no.
So the Disney Parks blog has a few tiny details on the new Lion King ride that's coming in Disneyland Paris, which is actually going to be a new park, I believe, called Disney Adventure World. And it says that after the grand opening of World of Frozen in 2026, this new ride will premiere then. So it sounds like 2027 or later before we see The Lion King. It's going. First guests will make their way to the caves beneath the 120-foot high Pride Rock, where they will take their own place in the circle of life when they embark on a sensational and musical adventure, moving through iconic scenes and sceneries from the animated movie. There will be advanced audio animatronics. It will be one of the biggest at Disneyland Paris, featuring 3 exciting slopes, including an impressive 52-foot high descent. Are you looking to see what Disney Adventure World is, Sean?
I could. I was looking at the article that we had. This whole ride, and I thought we talked about it last week. Maybe we didn't.
We did, but we didn't.
It reminds me of Splash Mountain.
Yeah, it looks like Splash Mountain. Actually.
Yeah, it does. And it doesn't begin construction until this fall.
Disney releases a new map of Disney Adventure World. Let me throw that up for you to show you.
It's reimagining of their Hollywood studios.
Yeah, it's
right.
It's
we knew that.
On the same footprint, but they're kind of revamping as much of it as they can. This is the park we did not go to.
Eric actually told us, we just didn't look over at the chat quickly enough, but he says it's not a new park, it's a rename for the movie park.
Right. I mean, they're doing a reasonable change.
Sean, can you go into the chat for Twitch and delete the spam that someone just put there?
Sure.
Thank you.
I will do that.
Disney Adventure World will be a contemporary open-air movie studio. So it's still keeping some of the theming from the Hollywood studios that they had there.
Uh-huh.
But they're adding the World of Frozen. They already have Avengers Campus and Worlds of Pixar. But they're adding the World of Frozen. They're adding something called Adventure Bay, which is like the World of Frozen. Tangled, Alice in Wonderland, new things in... This article has way more about this new park than I've seen before.
Yeah.
They're also changing up their version of Downtown Disney, which is Disney Village.
Right.
And they are...
Oops. There we go.
Their Disneyland Hotel. They've got a Disney David Crockett Ranch bungalows, which they're redoing.
Crockett Ranch?
Davy Crockett Ranch bungalows.
Oh. I was wondering why they were so formal. What's with the David?
So that's a mouthful.
Right?
Yeah. So basically, they're redoing the entire park and the downtown Disney and the hotel.
Yeah, it would have been interesting to see when we were there last time. It looks like they're keeping some of the Hollywood stuff. Sorry, I had the map up and then I took it back down. It does look kind of interesting, but it looks like the Tower of Terror is sticking around. Their big movie theater entrance thing is still sticking around. So the Pixar area, does that have a Ratatouille ride in it? I think it's got a Ratatouille ride in it.
I know it's. Oh, geez. I know in Florida they put it in the France Pavilion.
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly where they put it in the Paris one. That's already there, but.
The gosh, none of this is coming up. But yeah, Ratatouille the Adventure. L'Aventure totalement toqué de Remy.
So they've got something called RC Racer, which is showing on that map.
Yes.
And then they've got Cars 4 Wheels Rally. And then you mentioned Ratatouille and Twilight Zone Terror of Terror.
And then, of course, there's the world of Frozen, where they're building like an Arendelle out there, which seems to be the thing at just about every park.
Yeah.
Every park's really trying
I
to
mean,
capitalize on
Frozen's
Frozen.
pretty darn popular.
Yeah, well, and the one in
Yeah.
Japan looks like the one to beat. Oh my gosh, it looks absolutely
Yeah.
insane. So we'll have to see.
It looks really cool.
Colleen and I have discussed going to Disney Hong Kong and Disney Shanghai. We're debating
Oh,
the
boy.
logistics of this because of various tariffs and how we're basically not being very friendly as a country anymore, and whether it's wise to be a tourist in these areas at the time. But we did sort of a deep dive into a lot of their attractions and things. They do look pretty cool. So we'll have to see what the deal is with it. But there was another picture I didn't even see over here, which is sort of a 3D rendering of the whole area.
Well, currently they don't have that many things because they probably have a lot of it shut down to rebuild.
Oh yeah.
They've got Avengers Assemble Flight Force, which is a thrill ride. They've got the Cars, the dancing Cars.
Luigi's.
Ride. It's called
Luigi's?
Cars Quattro Rally,
Okay.
but it says fun for little ones, and it looks kind of like it's got Mater on it. There's a Cars Road Trip where it's like Autopia, but with the cars.
Right.
Crush's Coaster, Flying Carpets over Agrabah for little kids, RC Racer, which is a big thrill ride, which looks like that. It's that orange one that you see that looks like a U on the...
Right, it looks like the Hot Wheel track.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they've got the Ratatouille ride, Slinky Dog Zigzag Spin, Spider-Man Web Adventure, Twilight Zone Tower of Terror, and Toy Soldiers Parachute Drop. And that's it for what's open today.
Right. Oh, that's pretty cool. Wow, parachute drop. Keep me away.
I'll go.
Yeah, you go.
I like parachute
I'll take
drops.
pictures of you going. Like, not me. Not me.
All right. Sean, you want to grab the rest in peace section?
Surely. Let me go take a look over at our doc here. At the age of 85, Don Mischer has passed away. He's director and producer of the Academy Awards and the Emmys shows, and apparently passed quietly in his sleep on the 11th of this month. And he did 15 Emmy ceremonies, a bunch of Kennedy Center honors, if you've ever seen those shows, which are terrific. And he did the annual 9/11 memorials at Ground Zero in New York, the 1996 Summer Olympics, 2002 Winter Olympics. He basically did big productions, halftime shows with Michael Jackson, Prince, Rolling Stones, Paul McCartney, Bruce Springsteen. So he leaves us with a lot of entertainment in his wake, even though we didn't know any of his work by name. We lost Jean Marsh. She won some Emmys. She was a co-creator of the television series Upstairs, Downstairs, if you remember that British drama series. She was 90 when she passed away. And, of course, she was also the evil Queen Bavmorda in Willow. As I recall. I'm going to look up her credits here. Very distinctive voice, and like she did just a bajillion things. But I mean, we know her largely for Willow. She was in Frenzy, which was an Alfred Hitchcock movie. She was in Return to Oz, if you remember the Return to Oz movie. It had about a
Yeah.
hundred credits to her name, and she's credited. And I didn't watch this, but you did, Jeff. She's credited as Queen Bab-Morda in the Willow TV series that came out. And I don't know if that was just a flashback or they had her in it.
Yeah. It was like I don't know if it's necessarily a flashback because I'm not sure if they got her in to do it or if it was just like audio grabbed from the original movie,
right,
and plopped in there.
But she gets
a
proper credit.
I have to go back and watch it to hear it again.
And she's got 6 or 8 separate Doctor Who appearances, and in one case, in the original run of the series from 1965 to 1989, she was in 15 episodes of Doctor Who. So she was in Danny, the Champion of the World, if you remember that, and just a super talented actress. And but she chewed some scenery as Bab-Morda for sure. This is kind of a local guy. If you lived in Southern California, KROQ was the local alternative station. It was where you went to listen to Oingo Boingo and all of the kind of crazy alternative music in the 1980s. He spent 34 years at KROQ FM and passed away at the age of 69. He was known as Jed the Fish, and he was just a staple of the airwaves out here in Los Angeles. He did have a nationally syndicated radio show called Out of Order. You may have heard him there if you listen to that show elsewhere. And he was one of the guys who got a lot of airplay for Depeche Mode, Duran Duran, The Smiths, early on when nobody really knew who they were. He gave them a lot of airplay. He promoted them a lot. He bounced all of it. He was at KCSN, which I think is the college station at Cal State University of Northridge, and he was even on KLOS out here. So, if you either listened to his nationally syndicated thing or you knew him from being in Los Angeles. And then game show host Wink Martindale passed away at the age of 91. He started in radio and in television. He was friends with Elvis Presley. He had his own singing career where he appeared on TV singing and in movies singing. He was a rock and roll DJ in the early years, which is how he connected with Elvis Presley. The shows that he did were Tic-Tac-Toe, High Rollers, Gambit. He had a whole bunch of game show stuff. And how do you know Wink Martindale? He's the name that you just can't forget, really. But he got the nickname Wink because his friends couldn't say his name, which was Winston. And so he got this weird nickname called Wink. But 1958, in the movie Let's Rock, he had a spotlight singing. He was on the same label as Pat Boone, and his second wife had dated Elvis Presley on and off before he got engaged to Priscilla, which was kind of funny. And Elvis was responsible for their marriage. So
how weird.
Yeah, kind of funny. Anyway, he had a pretty interesting and long life. And most of the people I talked to this week actually already thought he had passed away because he's been pretty quiet in recent years. So it's kind of funny.
So if we hurry, you can each talk one story. So Jeff, what do you got?
I have a quick one then. It is. We have like actors who show up at like that red carpets and everything and whatever, and they always ask them questions. And this is the one time that I thought it was kind of neat, where they walked up to Vincent D'Onofrio, And they asked him if he could play a character at DC, who would he ever want to play? And he said Swamp Thing,
Huh.
which I was like, that's pretty cool. I'm like, I love Swamp Thing. So that it'd be neat if that was something that came to pass, but I sincerely doubt it. But thought that was pretty nifty.
Well, cool.
There you go.
Sean?
Kelly Marie Tran, who, of course, was in the last Star Wars trilogy, had a love-hate relationship with social media, people hounding her and being less than pleasant. She kind of went away. She kind of came back because people were being racist, people were being sexist, and just altogether nasty just because she showed up in The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker. And so, people on the internet are mean. Many of them suck. But she's kind of come to grips with all of that. She learned a lot about herself from that. And the last role that she did was more artistic and kind of crazy. And she did. She's been doing more Asian-related stories, working a lot. One which is called The Wedding Banquet, which is related to Ang Lee's film. And so it's a new version of that. And she's apparently did a lot of soul searching over this and kind of come out as queer after all of it. And so she's kind of like, she had a great experience and she's so comfortable with herself. And she's just kind of like, forget you. And so the whole set was like mostly made out of queer actors and techs and crew and that kind of thing. And so she's just like, kind of went, well, okay, I'm not going to hide anymore. I'm not going to do whatever. And so it's kind of cool for her. And I love that she's come to grips with all of the vitriol that people spewed at her. I mean, that's got to be so hard. People have done it to us over the years over various stuff. And, nowhere to the level that she had to experience it. And I just love that she's gotten so zen about all of this. She's really happy where she is in her life. She feels like she's making art with these movies that she's doing. And she's comfortable enough to be just completely honest and open with everything. There's a really long story in Variety.com. I encourage you to go read it. We love her, and we love that she loves her too. And then it got quiet.
Well, because would you like to wrap up the show, Sean?
I guess I could.
2 minutes to go.
We were going to talk about the space mission that happened, but we can do that another time.
Well, if you can get that and wrapping up the show in 2 minutes.
Nah, not really. I do think it's interesting how mad everybody is over this, what was obviously a publicity stunt. And I will say this about it.
Yeah.
Everybody had a reason for going on the Blue Origin New Shepard flight. And it is just a flight. They sent him up. They brought him down. Most of the people on board are sort of eschewing the astronaut name, feeling they hadn't exactly earned it. Katy Perry was, of course, the big star on the thing. But there were actual scientists on board who were never going to get into space. And for those people going up there, I am super, super grateful that they got the opportunity, because they're one of them was a aerospace designer. She's an actual rocket scientist, and she was just never going to get up there. Aisha Bowe was a NASA engineer, and she got to do it, and I'm really super happy for her. And then Nobel nominee Amanda Nguyen is the first person of Vietnamese descent into space, and she had a whole mission for going, and she's got this whole agenda where she's fighting sexual assault and things like that, and it was like really super personal to her. But she's also an astrophysicist. And she was never going to get into space either. So, you can sit there and look at it and go, rich people went into space. But take a look at the bios for these people and understand that some of them, they've paid their dues. They've really put in the work. And it wasn't just about super famous people going into space. They worked hard at it. So that's all I'll say about that. Because, look, if somebody gave us the opportunity to go into space, would we turn it down? Of course we wouldn't. We would totally go. So, I think we need to lighten up on some of those people. But you can make fun of Katy Perry kissing the ground all you want, though. I saw a meme that said, "I kissed the ground and I liked it." All right. For you guys who have been hanging out with us for 2 hours, you are pretty epic. Thanks for doing so. Big thanks to Kit, who is still at work at the stadium slinging hot dogs.
Yeah.
But we're grateful to her for putting our show document together. Thanks for doing that. And we will be back next week. I'll be on the air tomorrow on sci-fi.radio doing Good Morning Tatooine. That's 9 a.m. Pacific time, 12 p.m. Eastern time. So tune in for that. And otherwise, we'll see you guys all next week.
I'm Colleen Kaylee Crosby.
This is Jeff Donoho.
I am Sean Obi-Shawn Crosby. As always, may the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you.
All right, little credits over here for all y'all
Bye,
watching
everybody.
on video. See you later.